And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, and we'd love to have you tuning in, and we greatly appreciate all that you're doing. We're experiencing an uptick in calls lately, people reaching out, want to know more about what's happening with the real estate market, what's going on with my credit scores. All of our 50-plus show partners, thank you, our radio and TV show family out there. And the way that you can connect with the show is on our hotline at 813-750-0550 is our consumer advocate hotline. Call or text that line anytime, any questions as well. Hit the website, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our partners, our on-air expert contributors. And I'll tell you, I've got the latest stats right here in my hand. A lot of the same. Low inventory, not much happening on the inventory front. It's staying the same. Down, low inventory right now on the real estate market. And also, forbearance numbers are lower than expected. We're going to talk about that as well. We've got Diane Vance back on the show. Diane, welcome back.
Hey, good to be back, Brandon.
Mortgage expert contributor, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Also, Ray Hall going to be chiming in as well. Ray Hall Appraisals.
Hey, thanks for having me back. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And rounding out our show, we're going to have Richard Alexander, attorney Richard Alexander, in studio in the second half of the show. So we've got a great lineup for you. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our show partners, our expert contributors in the area of COVID certified cleaning. It's Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. And we will urge you to reach out to them. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. It's a woman-owned business, local business. Again, you're supporting the local economy by supporting this show. And they're also COVID-19 certified for infection prevention and control. Follow her on Facebook at Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. And they are offering $15 off for any radio family listeners out there that call our hotline. So we would love to connect you with Jade and her team, Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. And yeah, we got a great lineup for you today here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Before we do, I want to touch on a hot listing. This is a brand new listing to the market. 6128 Oak Ridge in Port Richey, Newport Richey. This is Oak Ridge Avenue in Newport Richey. This is right on the river. So you've got bay access, waterfront home, over 4,000 square foot home, 4 bedrooms, 4 bath, right on the river. You got your own boat dock. Bring your boat, enjoy the jet skis and boating out there, and old Florida setting, beautiful property. And also, check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, so let's kick it off with Diane Vance here. We're talking about the mortgage industry. It's super busy. We're blessed, as we say, to be that busy and to have jobs and to not be one of the, the unemployed, laid off categories. And you're hiring right now, I hear.
Yes, we are actually hiring underwriters, processors, closers, loan officers' assistants, loan officers. I'm very blessed to actually work for a company that has been voted the number one company to work for the last 5 years, maybe 6 years, now that I think about it. Fairway is an awesome company. We're an employee-owned company. We're in the top 5 in the country. We're known for speed to response, and that's we try to do things fast. We try to get things. I have a team behind me. I'm not the only one. Even for my personal production, I have a team that actually helps me get the loans done quickly. I always talk to the customer up front, and like I said, we're very blessed to actually be as busy as we are. And, it's definitely an opportunity for folks out there if they are interested in an awesome company to work for. And we will even train. So I just hired a closer that works for a builder, and we're bringing her in. And so we're all willing to train. We're looking for good people to actually, work with us. But Brandon, I know that you had talked about forbearance numbers, and forbearance numbers are better than expected, meaning that and we're actually seeing the forbearance that were on credit reports. People have went back to work, and they've actually taken their loans out of forbearance. So now if they defer their payment, they need a 3-month history of the payments being paid again. But we're seeing those numbers, like I said, they're actually better than expected. And today, the Fed chair actually spoke this morning, and he's going to let inflation kind of take its course because they're actually finding that it's a global economy and inflation really doesn't have a lot to do with a global economy. So he's not going to cap it. If you remember in the past, and we all have to change with economic times, right? So in the past, if inflation ever got to a 2%, that was kind of like their cap, then they'd start increasing interest rates. Well, it seems that Jerome Powell is kind of middle of the road, which is a good thing. And he doesn't feel like, any increase. I think he said till 2024 is what somebody projected.
Wow.
I don't think it was him. I think it was one of the other Fed chairs. But no, that doesn't mean that it was one of the other, like Atlanta or Dallas or somebody like that. But it doesn't mean that they will always be 0%, but it's going to be pretty close to zero for a few years. That is not what the mortgage rates are. Mortgage rates are not at 0%. What that does help is that helps the economy. It helps, equity loans. It helps overnight bank lending loans. I mean, it helps commercial loans. It helps, a lot of different things. It helps, prime rate is 3.25. So there's a lot of confusion out there. I know I got an email from a customer that said, hey, I see that, because I do a newsletter, and if you'd like a newsletter, just, go to Brandon's website and I'll add you on. It says, the Fed funds are still 0%. And I had a customer come back, you mean I can get a mortgage for 0%? No, can't get the mortgage for 0%. But interest rates are so low, and that's the reason that we have so much activity. I was just listening to CNBC today, and it was a national number. In July, the pending home sales were up 20%, and that's for the national number. Some areas were 13%. I didn't catch what Florida was. But that is the reason, because interest rates are extremely low, and they're planning on staying that way. But people.
Well, I think a lot of people are also relocating. They're moving
Correct.
from a lot of the cities that are allowing the civil unrest, which is you look at CNN, they call it a peaceful protest. Well, it's not very peaceful with the videos I'm seeing on Facebook and YouTube and some of the places. So I think there's a mass movement now away from the big metropolitan areas to the more suburban and rural areas, Diane.
That's what they said actually on this report, was that they're seeing that happen. Not only that, but also COVID. I mean, people are starting to rethink their lives and rethink of what do they, how do they fit. I mean, everybody has to kind of have a shift of mindset. So you sort of have to look at your own personal, I mean, my husband and I, we're like, hey, maybe we want to think about a condo when we retire or something like that. Maybe downtown St. Pete or something like that. But after COVID, it's like, maybe I want to stay in the suburbs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially some of the bigger cities where they're allowing these things to happen, and they're calling the police off. They're saying, no, don't go in there. Let them pull down the statues. Let them, it's getting a little bit out of hand when you look at that. Let me reset real quick. So if you just joined us, we're talking with Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, longtime friend of the program, local lender, our expert contributor and analyst for the Consumer Quarterback Show for all things mortgage and finance. We also have Ray Hall on the show as well. I wanted to go back to the foreclosure or the forbearance numbers, because initially what the thought was oh, wow, we're going to have a flood of foreclosures. But here's some of the latest data that we have. This is from the chief economist for First American. He says, despite the federal foreclosure moratorium, there were fears that up to 30% of homeowners would require a forbearance, ultimately leading to a foreclosure tsunami. Forbearance did not hit 30%, but rather peaked out at 8.6% and has been steadily falling since. Diane?
That's correct.
Yeah, so that's an interesting number. They were thinking that it was going to be the number has totaled around 4 million for the first time since early May, so pushing the total. So yeah, so what does all that mean?
Well, I think what that means is that people, because they did have pass the CARES Act, and because they did have income, so they had the extra income that hopefully with the, because it ran out, let's hope our numbers don't change. But the reason is because there were a lot of people that still actually, so they understood what forbearance meant. They understood that I'm going to have to either make up those payments or I'm going to have to modify the loan or increase my payment for the next 12 months. So I believe that most people ended up, I had several calls, and I would explain that to them, and they're like, okay, well, I can afford to pay my payment. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I really think the forbearance, that's the reason the numbers were so low, because they did have help. And so they did have income. They weren't down to whatever the state unemployment was. And I think that is a lot to do with why the numbers were not, thank goodness they were not as bad as what they thought they were going to be. And I think we understand now more than we did in 2008 about forbearance and foreclosures and, how to do it right and how to get people, because nobody wants somebody's home. That is not a fun situation for anybody, the banks, the lenders, nobody, and especially the buyers. So that is not good for anybody. So it doesn't
it's good for the hedge fund, what they did back in 2008. It's good for the hedge fund buyers and the billionaires and the
right.
That's what they did.
That's not the people that we should be helping, right?
Exactly.
Right. So,
that's exactly right.
Right. So I really believe that's the reason the forbearance numbers are down. That's my personal opinion, but I've listened to some folks and they believe the same thing. So, a lot of economists think that, so it's a brighter future than we thought it was going to be once we went into this COVID. And, so I really believe that, that it's going to continue. I think we kind of have it right, to help people and to actually, not let them, flounder and fall on their own.
Right on. All right, Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up, we've got Ray Hall Appraisals, and he's an expert in all things value. Everybody wants to know the value of that land. What's the value of that commercial property? How about my residential home? Well, we're going to hear from Ray Hall talk about what the appraiser actually does and how he does it. Also, we've got our feel-good story of the day. Taco Bell employee saves man's life in drive-thru. Really cool story right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Don't touch that dial.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense. and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterbacks Show, former USF football player, played on the inaugural football team at USF. And a lot of times people say, why is it the quarterback show? Well, what we want to do is we want to be that quarterback. We want to introduce you to all of our expert contributors, make those connections with you, and kind of serve as the metaphoric version of a quarterback in your financial life, your business life, and make those connections. We've been doing it over 7 years now, and we're real successful with our real estate business. We rank in the top 1% with Keller Williams Realty. So we'd love to help you as on your journey in life. Anything that we can do to help you, reach out to the hotline. We'd love to connect. 813-750-0550 is our hotline, 750-0550. And giving a quick shout out to the BELLEAIR Beach Resort on Treasure Island. The official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is the beautiful BELLEAIR Beach Resort, Treasure Island. 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, and just a great opportunity to have a good time down there at Clearwater Beach, Treasure Island, St. Pete, the beautiful beaches of Tampa Bay. Hot places to just enjoy that vacation time. A couple of hot listings here. 2528 APPALOOSA Trail here in Tampa Bay. This is a nice family-style home, estate-style home, large home. We got 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3-car garage, pool home right here in Palm Harbor, one of the best areas in all of Tampa Bay, Palm Harbor and Pinellas County. Also, 8001 U.S. Highway 301 in Riverview. This is a sandwich shop that we've got listed over in East Hillsborough County. 8001 U.S. Highway 301 Riverview. This is a sandwich shop with a separate building that's also rented out. It's a commercial opportunity here from the Consumer Quarterback Show, approximately 2,400 square foot. Great opportunity to own real estate right here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Ray Hall Appraisals on the Consumer Quarterback Show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Yeah, man. Staying busy, blessed and highly favored, as Les Brown used to say. So when you look at the appraisal process, a lot of people don't really understand, like, hey, what's this appraiser actually doing when he's at my house?
Yeah, I get that a lot. You know, even, a lot of times if I have a newer realtor who's doing the inspection with me, they're a little hesitant to ask, but they always, they want to say, I don't know what you do to come up with that value. How's it happening? And the first thing I tell people is you've got to remember the value of your house is driven by the houses that sold. It's really not driven by your house. So that's the first thing to realize. A lot of times also they think we come out there, we look around, and we have that value in our head. And it's unfortunately not the case. That's the easy part. So what we're doing is we're coming out to your home, we're doing our appraisal inspection, and we're trying to determine what the condition of your house is, what kind of amenities you have, what's the quality of the construction of the house, and just kind of the overall appeal. And what we do is we take all that data, we then come back to the office, and now we have to select our market area. We have to take all that information from the MLS. We then kind of select what our most competitive sales are, what's the most similar to the subject. And then from there, we take our comparables. Now, the way the value is done is we adjust the sales price of those comparable sales against your house. So that's where the value comes from. It's not like we're just putting spot costs on everything in your home. We're actually looking to see how your house compares to the market, and we're determining the value that way.
Yeah. So that's the sales comparison approach. We're talking with Ray Hall Appraisals here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Now, when you flip it also, you go to income producing properties. You want to talk about how that might happen? I think we just talked about one yesterday that I've got coming up. It's going to be somewhere around $1 million to $2 million right in Safety Harbor. It's a potential, you got multiple units in this building. How do you value something like that, Ray? That's
a good question. Now, with a multifamily, you are going to go after that income approach a little bit more. Two methods they use. As you know, I'm a certified general appraiser, so I appraise both residential and commercial properties. The popular method in the residential way is to come up with a gross rent multiplier. In other words, they're just taking the sale price, dividing it by the gross rent for the year, and it gives you a multiplier. And that's what they're assigning, how they get that value via that approach. Another way, and a very popular way in commercial, and I'm seeing it a little bit more in residential, is called a capitalization rate, where you look at comparables and you look at their annual net operating income. You divide that income by what their sales price was and gives you what's called a capitalization rate. So then you have to estimate your income, multiply it by divide it by that rate, and then that's how you determine the value. Income properties are a lot more involved than, say, just your single-family home. Now, with residential, a single-family residential, they don't put much weight on that income approach because that lease is what we call short-term. It's usually only 1 year out, so there's really no value to that lease because that income is going to end next year, and we don't know where it's going to go from there. The income approach is more applicable to properties that have long-term leases like commercial do, or that have, like we were talking about, numerous units that will be occupied and bringing in income.
I can't wait to ask you about this question here. Speaking of commercial, more and more businesses doing Zoom, more and more companies saying, hey, do I really need to have 30,000 square, however many square feet? A lot of people are saying, I'm looking at content out there, and people are saying, hey, this commercial industry is going to change. It may not ever be back to the way it was pre-COVID. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with it. But, the thing about commercial real estate is they can change it for something else. You may not have people going to the office, but I have a feeling that these shared office space areas are going to become more popular. I myself, I run my business out of my house. I'm at home every day, and I've thought about going to get a shared office space just to get me out of the house.
Right.
For everyone working at home now, you're finding that you feel like you're always at work. And a lot of these office buildings can be converted to that type of space. So, you may see some, now investors going after maybe what was once some type of office space, buying it, renovating it, and then just renting out the individual spaces.
Right.
Now, is that going to happen quickly? Probably not. I think the whole COVID needs to settle down a little bit, and people need to feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
But I do expect to see more of that shared office, and it'll be a real interesting dynamic with real estate, and I think it'll bring a lot of opportunities to investors.
Well, something else to think about as well is some of these behemoth, Amazons, the Walmarts, with companies like Sears. I saw one, I think it was Sears, that went out of business at a strip mall or at a regular old school mall. They're taking over those places and making them a distribution center. Yeah.
Because, when it comes to a distribution center, they're going to have that. There's no way to get around needing the real estate for that. That is more of an industrial use, of course. But, something like a Sears would be perfect for that because it's a huge amount of space. And there's not many interior partition walls. So it's a pretty easy conversion to, a warehouse or distribution type use. But some of the other types of buildings, like I know Citibank just repurchased their complex down off of MLK. And I know a lot of the city workers are now working from home. So those are the properties I'm kind of watching and see what happens, in the near future.
Yeah.
With regards to do they still need them or not?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. We got about a minute left. You want to talk about your owner's use appraisal?
Absolutely. If you're a homeowner, you're kind of just wondering where that value's at. Maybe you're thinking of listing and you have no idea where that's going to come in. I can come out and do what's called a restricted use appraisal. It's for your eyes only. It starts at $150. It's going to give you a certified value with my signature on it, and it's going to give you a great indication of where the value is on your home to help you work with your realtor.
Awesome. Sounds good. Hey, another great show from you guys. Diane, thanks so much for being on there, if you're still on.
Yep, thank you.
Absolutely. Ray Hall Appraisals. So you see, we've got our team. We've got all the best experts from different areas. You've heard William Crowley when it comes to our real estate team. So questions sometimes will start one way and they'll go a different way, but we've got the team to kind of answer those questions. Of course, attorneys, real estate attorneys, associated here. So Ray Hall Appraisals, Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Great job as well. Coming up, we got attorney Richard Alexander joining us here. Alexander Law in the house. Plus, our feel-good story of the day. Taco Bell employees saved man's life in drive-thru. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, Consumer Quarterback Show page, and the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. Top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. Keller Williams Realty, #1 real estate company in the world. A couple of hot listings here. 4209 Preserve Place. This is a end-unit condo available in Palm Harbor on the golf course, waterfront, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, vaulted ceiling, spacious layout, beautiful property, 4209 Preserve Place in Palm Harbor. Great opportunity. Now, here is a development opportunity. Attention builders, developers out there. 12208 Four Oaks Road in Tampa. This is a prime location. You're talking about Carrollwood in Tampa. 5 acres for sale. R9 is the zoning. So you got the ability to build 40 units is what approximately you can build right here in Tampa Bay. We know that low inventory in housing, residential properties. This is a great opportunity right here at 12208 Four Oaks Road in Tampa. And you can check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, one of my favorite expert contributors to bring into the show, attorney Richard Alexander. Welcome back in, man.
Thanks, Brandon. You know how much I love being here, so thank you.
Yeah, man. So it's great. I love how you come with these great ideas. You do your research. We got some interesting content to talk about.
Yes.
Very topical content.
Very.
Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with what happened earlier this morning, which was at 8:30. There was a motion filed by the Hillsborough County State Attorney in front of Judge Nash, Christopher Nash, and pretty much is to exonerate Mr. Robert Dubois. I don't know if anybody knows, but literally it just came out a couple of days ago that the Hillsborough County State Attorney determined that they had convicted an innocent man way back in 1983, which means which means he had been in federal prison for, state prison for 37 years for the rape and murder of an individual. I believe Barbara Grams was her name.
Wow.
And she was left behind a dentist's office.
Wow.
Way back. And he was convicted. And here's what I thought was one of the weird things. He was convicted on what they determined to be a reconstructive bite mark and a jailhouse informant. Okay, now they had collected DNA from the victim and stored it away. And they didn't test it because they feel it would be inconclusive given the scientific, background at the time. So they didn't think they could do it effectively, and it would be introduced as medical evidence or medical testimony.
Right.
So they just stored it away.
Interesting.
Okay, so that's what he was convicted of. And what's curious about that is that's how, in the Ted Bundy case, that's how one of the convictions stood, was the bite mark on one of the students from FSU.
Right.
Because he had a tendency to do that, and he had a very distinctive bite.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with this case. And, the man was convicted on that. There was no other evidence.
Wow.
And, how about that?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, watching that, well, first of all, prayers are out for the family of Robert Dubois. I mean, that's horrible for a family to have to go through that. Thank God we finally got it right after 37 years. I don't know how that plays out.
I mean,
it's like crazy.
That's my point, man. What do you do?
Yeah.
Sorry, and good luck with your life.
Yeah. Does he get any kind of, hey, here's a $50,000 Kickstarter account? Like, what happens in that situation? My bad.
I think he can petition the governor, because there are caps.
Yeah.
How much you can sue the state.
Yeah.
But I think in rare circumstances, you can petition Tallahassee in order to get something above and beyond that. But those have to be this would be a perfect prime case for that.
Wow. Interesting, man.
So this was the work of a 1-year investigation from the Innocence Project, which is pretty famous, and the Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office. And one of the things I just found incredible is that they had secured the DNA evidence, and it was with the Hillsborough County Medical Examiner's Office since 1990.
Wow.
So it wasn't until 2019 that they said, hey, maybe we need to relook at this case.
Wow.
So think about that. It's quite possible that this guy did an inordinate amount of time because no one had looked into it before.
It just shows you, too, the other thing, because I was mentioning before the show, we were talking about my friend that is a pilot now, very successful, published author, flying around, millionaires, NFL coaches, different people. And he had a similar situation, wrongfully convicted, imprisoned, almost killed in prison. The story, we're actually shopping it right now. We're putting together a script. We're putting together a movie, sizzle reels. We got the whole thing going. But same thing, but he had to fight from within. He had to keep fighting, set up a website. Ultimately, the judge gets thrown off the bench for railroading not only him and accepting bribes, multiple other cases of that. So they revoked her license, revoked her ability to be a judge.
It's tragic. I mean, it really is tragic because I was once a prosecutor and I know about the conversations that go on, behind closed doors and, why they're doing things. And I knew at all times that the line, it has to stop with me.
Yeah.
Because all prosecutors in the state of Florida are certified law enforcement officers. We carry a badge.
Yeah.
I did at one time. And I knew that no matter what, that even if someone, if someone is railroaded or someone's rights are violated, I mean, it's up to me to right that wrong.
Right.
It's
But the flip side of that, somebody doesn't have the ethics that you do and the will to find justice, whichever way it may be. Some of them, like you're hearing rumors about, and not to go down the political side, but you got Kamala Harris, who VP. There's rumors out there, and I've seen different studies or podcasts about it where she would do it just to win the case.
Look, it's the win at all cost mentality is what
Exactly.
you just, exactly what you just broached on. But I'm not sure what happened this morning at 8:30 in front of Judge Nash.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine him denying the motion by the prosecution to release this man. And he should be released today, actually.
Yeah.
So he'll be a free man
Wow.
Later today.
We got to interview him. We got to get him in here.
You know, that I think he would be an excellent person to talk to about, what he went through.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't want to overlook, of course, the family of Barbara Grams, who is the victim in this. And now, they're going to have to reopen this case.
Wow.
Luckily, the DNA that was preserved from her has pointed to 2 suspects.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So you talk about a total 180 turnaround there, and hopefully get the right person.
Right. Hopefully get the right person and give a new closure to the family.
Right.
Of Miss Graham.
Yeah, we're talking with attorney Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Trust Alexander Law is the website, trustalexanderlaw.com, and a longtime friend of the program here and a legal analyst for us. So let's talk a little bit about, we had mentioned as well the cyber kid, the whole issue with that.
Yeah.
Haven't heard anything yet, but it's probably still in the discovery phase.
Yeah, I haven't either. Again, the state attorney, the Hillsborough County state attorney, has decided to keep this case in-house, keep it close, when clearly, it should be a federal case.
Right.
Because the feds, they have the money and the will and the manpower, the expertise to, with cybersecurity affecting, potentially, billions of people on the planet.
Yeah.
But he decided to keep it in-house in the election year of
For fame.
Yeah, in the election year of 2020, where he's not running unopposed. And it's going to be interesting because they're going to have to go through the discovery phase.
Wow.
Like anything else. And I would imagine that discovery is going to be extensive on this, considering, again, I think there are 2 other players on this, and one of them is a British citizen.
Oh, wow.
And the other one, I believe, again, this is what I've read.
So co-conspirators, et cetera.
And another one is actually is an employee of Twitter.
Ah, yeah. You had to have an inside.
Yeah, you remember that?
Somebody with the code or something.
Right. And I think, again, this is everything I've read about it because I was fascinated when this happened.
Yeah.
That evidently the kid that was arrested had some compromising, information on this Twitter employee.
Ooh.
And that's why he capitulated.
Right.
And, told him how to get into the accounts of, high profile celebrities.
Wow.
Like Elon Musk, for instance, and Barack Obama. And so,
yeah.
Yeah. So, talk about a movie to be made. That's a good movie of the week.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So that's an interesting. So you also have something major happening right now. You got back to school. Kids started back. They're going back. Some are already back. Teachers union versus the governor. Let's save it for the next segment. Okay.
Sure.
So we're going to come back. Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Going to frame that up for you. Talk about what's happening in the state of Florida. The big debate between should the kids come back? Is it wrong because the teachers are going to be put into a vulnerable position? And I just keep looking at the stats of hey, you have a 99% chance of not dying from this COVID thing. So stay with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Taco Bell employee saves man's life in drive-thru as well. That's our feel-good story of the day, and we'll be right back after the short break.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Giving a shout out to Brothers Easy Moving. The official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is Brothers Easy Moving. Whether you're planning a local or long distance move, reach out to Brothers Easy Moving. They do a great job moving our real estate clients. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that it was a first-class organization. Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. And we've got a hot listing at 422 Wildwood Way. This is in BELLEAIR, Pinellas County, close to the beaches, also surrounded by multiple pro-style golf courses. Great opportunity to own real estate right here. A two-story home, just reduced $5,000 as well. Did a $5,000 price improvement on that property as well. 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes. This is another development opportunity. 8 lots, 5 of which are right on the waterfront. This is waterfront lots available on a 90-acre ski lake. Owners motivated. Great opportunity. 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, so a Taco Bell employee in Clarksville, Tennessee is being held a hero for saving a customer's life after he passed out in the drive-thru. About 40 minutes into her shift, Sonia Frazier and her coworkers noticed that a drive-thru line had come to a complete halt. Quote, "We were seeing cars and hearing the bell go off, but nobody was coming through the drive-thru," said Frazier. And then one of my managers looked out the camera and just saw the car parked there the wrong way and blocking the way. And one of the coworkers went outside to investigate and saw a man leaned over in the seat of a van. "He's passed out," and I yelled to another employee, "Call the ambulance," Frazier said. And we opened the door. He was blue. I said to him, put him on his left side. His hands and fingertips were blue. I found a pulse, but it was weak. Frazier immediately flipped him over and began performing CPR while talking to the man and telling him that everything was going to be okay. Approximately 11 minutes of CPR. First responders arrived at the scene and took over. And, quote, "I don't look at myself as a hero. I just did what I was supposed to do." There you go. Taco Bell coming through right there. And good story, feel-good story, saving a man's life right here in our feel-good story of the day. All right, we got attorney Richard Alexander in studio. We got a great conversation going around things happening in the legal profession. He is a local attorney here in Tampa Bay, can help out with the different types of law as well. Richard, we were going to talk about the teachers union versus Governor Ron Desantis, basically. It's kind of rolling out right now.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that ruling came out 3 days ago on the 24th. And if you know a little bit about it, what happened was the largest Florida teachers union sued the governor, along with the education commissioner, which is Richard Corcoran. And the main reason was really a two-prong attack from the teachers union, which is the plaintiffs in this case. And they sued up in Tallahassee. And one of the issues was that, when they actually issued a mandate that brick and mortar has to be open to the children, this was a statewide mandate. They felt that was unconstitutional because it has to provide a safe and, secure location, and that has to be for everybody, not just the kids, but the teachers as well. And they overstepped their authority by doing that in violation of the Florida Constitution. And the other...
Allegedly, or that's proven?
Well, no, the judge ruled in their favor.
Okay, in the plaintiff's favor?
Correct, the teachers union, okay. And the other part was that, there was a mandate that was also issued that, well, if you don't have brick and mortars open, then you're not going to be entitled to funds.
Right, that's the flip side.
Yeah, and for Hillsborough County, we were talking over $20 million a month.
Wow.
Because I don't know if you know this, but Hillsborough County is one of the biggest one of the biggest districts in the country.
I've heard that from the fire chief.
It's massive.
Lots of different folks coming on. So, so it's interesting. So frame this up for us then. So what's the decision to be made?
Well, the decision has already been made. It was made on the 24th by the judge out of Tallahassee in Leon County. And he basically said that the order violates the Constitution in part. And what he meant by that was, I'm not going to rule on every issue, but I will say is this, that the school districts are in the better position to decide for their districts as to how they're going to conduct the school system or the school year. And also, because they are teaching the kids online, regardless of what the school districts decide, that withholding of funds, that's unconstitutional.
Right.
Because in essence, what it is a type of extortion.
It is, yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. So, and honestly, there's not a school district in this country that can go without $20 million a month.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's an extraordinary number.
So it seems like there's somewhere in the middle here there's going to be a nice solution. And I just thought that we were kind of moving that way. Some kids learn better in the classroom. Let's space them out as little bit as we can. Let's have them wear the mask. And again, I just keep going back to, though, every time we start debating how bad this is, I just look at the death rate is extremely low for this virus. And to me, it's just overplayed. It's a political game. It's the political football of the election year. So I just look at what's the worst case scenario. Okay, so if you're, by the way, the average death was 79 is what I've seen, right? 79 years old. Okay, and if you're not in great shape, so it gets into this whole thing of we're catering to the very small minority of people that could be affected, and you're affecting all these big bunch of groups of people, and you're inconveniencing others. You put a lot of businesses out. So I understand definitely both sides of the equation, though. I'm just wondering how it's going to shake out. What do you see happening?
Yeah, look, it's not one of those instances where it's a zero-sum game. Like the Super Bowl, you have to have a winner and you have to have a loser.
Right.
When clock's 0-0-0. This is not one of those things.
Right.
And I think no one's going to win on this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know this, but there was a local attorney that was doing free wills for teachers. Have you heard about that?
Oh, wow.
He was actually advertising. Yeah, well, and it worked. Some teachers took advantage of it. Yeah, I'm going to do my will. Because I'm serious. I know. And it's a local attorney says, I'll do it for free, and if you want to do your will with me, by all means, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
But, it's things like that. I understand their perception. I get it. I understand it, like you just said. But what's the solution? I don't know. There are kids that clearly need to be in class, especially kids with, special needs, like they're on the spectrum.
Exactly.
They have to have that one-on-one.
Kids that can't hardly eat. They don't hardly get their meals unless they go to get that school lunch, that hot lunch.
Well, to piggyback on that, like you just said, Brandon, breakfast, lunch, they depend on the schools to provide that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you recall, but over the summer, a lot of the schools were just handing out lunches to the kids, during the end of the school year because they weren't getting lunch any other way.
Yeah, the other thing, Richard, by the way, let me reset real quick. Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Alexander Law. I'm your host, Brandon Brimes. In case you just joined us, we're talking about the teachers union versus Governor Ron DeSantis, the whole debate about going back to school. But yeah, if we keep kids out of school, we're not educating them, we're forcing them to maybe go online, they're not going to learn as well. The last thing we need is the dumbing down of the next generation. With social media, the stuff they're already doing. And then, by the way, didn't we just vote an increase on ourselves in taxes?
Yes, Hillsborough County did
last year. So that's my point. That's my point. There is we can't afford any more dumbing down of our American system.
One of the things that really concerns and bothers me is that have you ever been to a teacher's classroom that teaches science? Okay, the classroom is a science experiment.
Right.
They have, they spend their own money.
Yeah.
They decorate their classrooms. Their classrooms are full of experiments. Yep. They're in the cupboards. They're in the closets. They're everywhere. And you cannot have that online.
Yeah, Bunsen burners.
It's not possible. Exactly. With all different types of experiments, with all different types of chemicals, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
it's a good point. Well, and I don't know what the solution is, but I agree with you that we're talking about less than 1%.
Yeah.
Less than 1%. Really think about that. That's a staggering number. Yeah. It's in the like 0.05 over 100.
I just feel like there needed to be like a press conference in the, at some point, and just says kind of like the one coach that said, "We're talking about practice.
Yeah, we're talking
about less than 1%. And just to me, it's unreal. But then the counter argument, some people are going to say, well, yeah, but if you did get it and then you had this condition, you got worse and this got worse and then it affected all the other things. Okay, well, keep yourself in better shape, take your vitamins. Take your supplements, take your zincs, eat a proper diet. Don't go through the drive-thrus like you do. Personal responsibility is my point.
Yeah, I nobody wants our children to become incubators and bring it home. Obviously, nobody wants that. That would be insane because you bring it home to people that are maybe more susceptible.
Exactly.
And I get that side of it, but fortunately, and I'm going to put that in quotes, our children missed out on the last 2.5 months of school in the previous school year.
Mm-hmm.
And during this whole summer, our children have been trained to wear masks, to use, the hand sanitizers, to use all of that. So I have to rely on our kids just having a little better sense.
Yeah.
The teachers being in a much better position to say, listen, this is not acceptable.
Yep.
And, just let the educators educate. But I don't know if that could be done. I'm confident in certain disciplines that cannot be done online.
Yeah, and the college kids, I just heard more and more about it. Hey, no groups of 10, not even 10,
Right.
No group. And people are starting to get expelled from school now because they went to a party or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, come on, what are we doing there? It's a little bit of an overreach. We got about a minute left. Give us your top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom, my friend.
Well, the one thing, because I am an educator, I'll be on campus next week. But the one thing I always tell my students is, knowledge is power. Don't just take one source, reach out, do your research, okay, then come to an informed decision. Don't let anybody dictate for you what you think. The sheep mentality, the herd mentality, I despise that above all else. Just do your own research and come to your own conclusion. And you can be as passionate as you want to be, but have facts to back up your passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Richard Alexander, attorney Richard Alexander, Alexander Law, trustalexanderlaw.com. And, of course, we had a great show as well. Diane Vance was on the show earlier, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Ray Hall Appraisals, talks a lot about the real estate industry, things happening. Pending sales are up big time. People are moving away from a lot of the more metropolitan areas, the more urban areas. They're moving out of those things happening over to the suburbs. A lot of things happening here in the United States right now. Of course, this thanks to our wonderful election cycle. So, Richard, hey, another great show. Thanks so much, man. We appreciate all the
it's my pleasure,
great
man.
nuggets of advice there.
I'm always humble.
And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community and perpetuate the good out there. Do something kind for one another. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter, Consumer Quarterback Show page, and of course the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time